Hello and welcome to another 2 Network match report with me, Adam. It sadly finished at St James's Park early today. Newcastle 1, Spurs 2. It was a really exciting game. I thought it was probably quite a good one for the neutral for those watching on Sky Sports. We were really unlucky not to come away with a point. I really thought we played well. I mean, the first half, we were kind of shell-shocked a bit when they took the lead so early on. From a corner. Ericsson drifted it across, Davinson Sanchez headed it down, and it was a sort of scuffle between Paul Dummett and Jan Vertonghen, and it came off Jan Vertonghen's forehead, it hit the bar, it came down, Dubravka pushed it away, but it had already gone over the line, and to think that that goal went in by the margin of 9 millimetres, I mean, just undetectable with the naked eye, but obviously you can't have any complaints about that. It's a legitimate goal, and it's quite unlucky really. I mean, Davinson Sanchez is pretty good in the air, but my main beef defensively with that whole passage of play was actually the shot beforehand, where Ericsson sort of dragged a shot with his left foot across. I mean, it sort of was going wide anyway. Dubravka made sure, but to give a man like Christian Eriksen, who can hit a ball from range, to give him that much space and free time and not close him down in front of the area, I think is absolutely criminal. Whether we were, we just not switched on, or just not alive to that threat, but we needed to be alive to that threat because Eriksen's prowess with a ball from outside the area. We know how dangerous he is. It's no secret. He's been around in the league for years now doing that. So I was, as much as I think the circumstances in which we conceded corner-wise and that Dubravka was so close to pushing it away were unfortunate. I think the fact that we shouldn't have conceded that corner in the first place, because I think we should have been right over the top of that ball before Eriksen struck it to concede the corner. So that's my beef with that. So obviously, it was a positive start, really good atmosphere in the ground, and then it was kind of going a bit flat a bit. But then Newcastle, as is natural with once a goal scored, the scoring team usually sort of just even subconsciously will sort of sit back, and we try to progress a bit. And Richie found himself on the right wing as he was, and does what Richie does every time. He doesn't beat a man and go down on his right foot. He cuts in on his left, and Ben Davies couldn't stop this, and he flighted an absolutely excellent ball. Got to say, absolutely superb assist for that man Hosselu, who many grumbled at, myself included, when I saw him on the team sheet and not Rondon's name. And he managed to slip behind Davinson Sanchez and in between him and Aurier, and just glance a header right across into the bottom corner. Hugo Lloris, World Cup winner Hugo Lloris had absolutely no chance. Glanced it across, and after 11 minutes, 3 minutes after they score, it's 1-1, and the Geordie fan base go absolutely crackers, and. At that point, we probably didn't deserve it because we hadn't seen much of the ball. We hadn't had the ball much in the final third at all. But then, of course, a few minutes later, Tottenham, with their ability and quality, I mean, they fielded a side that was littered with players in the World Cup and players who probably haven't been at training for longer than a week. I'm pretty sure the likes of Lloris and Kane and Trippier didn't play today, but Kane did. Ali, littered with players that Vertonghen, he played right until the end as well. So players that have played most of the World Cup are managing to come in and show the energy levels that they did. Look, they have so much quality, and I always sort of half fancied us against a side that might be fatigued, that probably hasn't had a proper pre-season, which a lot of them haven't. But I think Eriksen was again at the heart of it, trying to push forward. Ball was cleared out to Aurier, who had nobody around him, and again it was You could argue that was Kennedy's man, but I think the way it rebounded out was a bit fortunate for them. But I've got to say, the delivery by Aurier, a beautifully curled ball at the back post. You can't really legislate for that kind of quality. It was absolutely superb. It really, really was. I have to give him full credit. And we were just not ready for that. I don't think there's much the keeper could do. I think just simply because of the delivery of the cross, but it's Yedlin at the back post, which a couple of times last year he did get caught out with. And Dele Alli just sort of, rose at the back and headed it across into the side netting. So it was 2-1, and it was a sucker punch really, because we'd after that early scare, we seemed to have got ourselves settled after the Hosselu goal, and we, for that kind of 7 minutes, you think, right, if we just kind of calm down, and then we can kind of grow into the game, because I don't think at that point we'd really grown into the game at all. And Spurs had been very, very dominant and seemed a lot more comfortable. They really sort of came out at us from the off. But having said that, we pushed hard, and we had a few more chances, and a few more corners came in, and there was a lot of head tennis today. There really was a lot of aerial duels, and Hosselu and Clark, in fact, won the most aerial duels today. Two players who I rolled my eyes at seeing on the team sheet. Hosselu obviously vindicated his position by scoring. Clark was okay, but I'd really like for Fabian Schär and Federico Fernandez to get up to speed quickly, so we don't have to be playing Clark, who I believe now is, with Lejeune's injury, fifth choice really at the club. But I can understand Rafa choosing those two simply because he can rely on them, because he knows them, because he's had pre-season with them, because he's had more than a season with them, and he knows what they're like, he knows what they'll deliver. I can understand him not starting Rondon simply because Rondon's only been at the club five days, and Fabian Schär and Federico Fernandez, although he has previously worked with Federico Fernandez and Schär played a few pre-season games, Fernandez has been at the club for 2 days, so again I can understand him not shoving him straight in. But it was just, apart from that, the lineup I was fairly pleased with, and it pretty much picked itself. It's sort of as you would expect. But we had a really good chance in the first half where we had a corner and it came back out, and then the ball was flashed across the 6-yard box diagonally, and Perez was sliding in at the back post, and he just missed it by a whisker. It was really, really unlucky, very, very close. And you just think, well, look, Tottenham are traditionally a top 3-4 side. Yes, we turned them over 5-1 a couple of years ago, but if you consider how we played last year, we got 2 very early defensive injuries in Lejeune and Dummett. Shelvey got sent off after about an hour mark, so that was shortly into the second half. So I mean, that from that point it was 0-0, and then we lost 2-0, and it was fairly comfortable for them. But I thought we really, really gave them a game today. That was all about kind of defending for our lives a bit, that game a year ago. But I thought we really went for it, and we had a load of chances, and obviously the second half performance was a marked improvement on the first half. Like, we miles better. I mean, I was fairly pleased with what I'd seen in the first half given the circumstances, but the second half performance really led me to think that, right, we should be getting a draw from this, or we should be winning it, because we created that many good chances that we could have easily put them to bed. So again, another sort of scramble in the box, ball comes out, Shelvey, who, can I just say on Shelvey, he was absolutely magnificent today. He was fantastic, and I'll tell you why. In fact, him and Kennedy were brilliant, and I'm going to just have a little Kennedy and Shelvey appreciation couple of minutes here, so bear with us. So, in terms of our chances creating and attacking third passes, Shelvey was up there. So Shelvey was sort of joint with Matt Ritchie for chances created as our highest performers in the chances created category. Attacking third passes, littered with Tottenham players, but John Joe Shelvey was there for us, 13 out of 21 attempted. So John Joe was kind of running the show today, but not only was it about his attacking play today, so his ball recoveries, John Joe Shelvey, 12. This is out of everybody. He made more ball recoveries in that game than any other Newcastle and Spurs player. So you can see that he was all over the place, and Kennedy himself, in terms of take-ons. So this is anyone who saw the game today. The dribbles from Kennedy were absolutely superb. And what I love about Kennedy is that he will dribble, he will do tricks, he will do Marseille roulettes, he'll do elasticos, he'll do the lot of back heels, he'll drop the shoulder, he does all that, but it's always to a purpose, and that's why I really like him. It's never style over substance, it's always meaningful and purposeful. When he does a trick, he wants to progress, he wants to beat a man, and more often than not today, he absolutely did that. There was a run he did in the first half where, I mean, he was rinsing that team. He was absolutely rinsing that team. He took on like 5 players in one go, and they couldn't get near him, and they just had to foul him. In fact, in the whole of the game, Kennedy was the most fouled person with 5 fouls. He was the most fouled person there. And of his take-ons, he attempted 9 take-ons, which was the most in the whole game. And he managed, he was successful in 6 of them. So 6 out of 9 dribbles, he absolutely smashed. Second was Yoshinori Muto, actually, when he came on. So in 10 minutes, Yoshinori Muto managed to complete half of the number of take-ons that Kennedy did in the entire game in the last 10 minutes. So as just a quick start there, that's amazing. That kind of shows how useful his pace could be moving forward. It's certainly brilliant as an impact, and hopefully we'll get to see more of him. He could be a bit more effective against maybe less opposition, and as he settles into the side. But in terms of Kennedy's, his dribbling was amazing, but also Kennedy's defensive contribution should not go unmentioned either. So, like the ball recoveries, he had 9, which is the joint second highest in the whole game. So his was tracking back. His interceptions, most interceptions in the whole game, Kennedy. So it's absolutely it fascinates me, Kennedy, how somebody like that, with all those tricks and flair, can actually put in a defensive shift as well. And him and Shelvey showed prowess in both the attacking third and doing the defensive duties as well. And that's really telling, because they're 2 players who you'd look, half a year ago you'd glance at the team sheet and you would not pick those 2 players out to be 2 of our most highest performing defensive players in a game like this. And I think for Shelvey in particular, it shows how far he's come in 12 months. The petulant stamp on Ali, it was a step, wasn't it? It was a little step on his finger. But as much as John Joe Shelvey committed the most fouls today than anybody, he didn't get booked. But he stuck in, and actually what I really loved, if you saw, when they had possession in the second half, he was going beyond the likes of Rondon and Hosselu and Oyose, and chasing down the last man, chasing down the goalkeeper. John Joe Shelvey put an absolute shift in today. I was so impressed with his all-round play, and him and Kennedy. I think for me, Kennedy's class up was just a class apart today. He really, really was, and for that and for his defensive contribution as well as his dribbles in the trying to progress on the counter attack, I'll give my man of the match to Kennedy, but John Joe Shelvey was a very, very, very close second, and I think I'm really delighted for their start, because I think there's a lot more to come from the pair of them, and that's just really encouraging. It's fantastic. They've not been sluggish getting out the traps today. So yeah, that really pleased with that, and Hoslu as well. Delighted that he's got 1-1. It's all about confidence with strikers. I don't expect him to play once Rondon gets up to speed and Muto gets up to speed, but it's good to know that we have a player who can score against a team that is notable for their very, very stubborn defence. So that's positive as well. So anyway, back to what I was going on about. Shelvey heads a long-range ball that's come out of him from the box, and it just lands at Diame on the left-hand side of the box. And he's sort of really languid. He seemed to take an age to bring it down, but he sort of took a touch and just smashed it with his wrong foot, his left foot, and it hits the upright and comes away for a throw-in. And it was so unlucky. Just think, if you, obviously he's right-footed, but if he was managed to catch it and just steer it like across the goalkeeper, that's 2-2. It's dead easy. Very soon after that, Perez is barging through, and he took a flick over a defender and tries to run through, and it then sort of gets bobbled around a bit. It comes back to Perez. It comes down to Hoslu, and Hoslu, the outside of his right foot, fantastic spot, the vision. I mean, Aurier kind of, again, in these two passages of play I'm describing, Aurier was nowhere, Diame wasn't anywhere for, and Kennedy was in absolutely acres of space. Hoslu pings up, like, just glides a ball along the floor towards the oncoming Kennedy, and his first touch is just too heavy. You know, out of all the players in our team who you'd think have like the closest control, Kennedy would definitely be up there. Touch was too heavy, and he tried to take around Lloris. That didn't work, but then he tried to get the ball across, and everyone, people were waiting, and it just didn't happen. It was really, really unlucky. It just should have been stopped dead and bang. If he stops that ball dead, I think we equalise, because Kennedy in front of goal on his left foot has far more chance than Diame on his left foot, which is his wrong foot. So really, really unlucky. But it just showed that we were opening them up. We were exploiting their weaknesses, which I believe was Aurier right back. I mean, as you know, in the attacking third, very similar to Yedlin maybe, very good going forward. Can be exploited as a defender, and I think that's what we saw from Aurier in those chances. When Rondon came on, I thought he was really smart with his movement. He gave us a good focal point, and he just meant we were a bit more mobile up front, you know. And Muto as well. When he came on, as I mentioned before, he was busy, you know. He showed some nice touches, and he showed some bursts of speed, and I think this high energy that he's going to bring to the side is going to be a weapon, either off the bench or from the start. I think, again, we need these new players to get up to speed. I mean, this is why Rafa Benitez wanted all of his business done before the World Cup. But instead, you know, we've had about 2 weeks with them, and Muto hasn't even been able to play pre-season with us. So for him to get 10 minutes under his belt and get a few take-ons and you know, look busy, that's it for me. I thought Eric Dyer actually was very, very lucky to get away with a red card today. It kind of went under the radar a bit, but he'd got a yellow card from taking out Kennedy, I believe. And then there was another challenge in the second half where he'd already been booked, and I believed it was, you know, it wasn't dirty, it wasn't terrible, but it was a bookable offence. Had he not been booked, I think Martin Atkinson would have happily showed him a yellow card for it. So I think Eric Dyer did. I think he was very lucky today to get away with that. But I mean, in terms of the second half, it was all Newcastle really, and the only threat that Spurs showed us in the second half was Ben Davies' cross to Musa Sissoko, old boy. And Dubravka made an absolutely excellent reaction save from that, and was fairly comfortable after that. But that was pretty much all they offered in the second half. But it was our finishing, and we couldn't test Hugo Lloris enough, and I think that was it. I mean, ultimately, we had 15 attempts today, and we had 2 on target. Tottenham had 15 attempts and put 5 on target. So, and they were just more clinical. So you know, our final chance fell to Salomon Rondon, who, you know, I really want to see start against Cardiff. I got excited when he came on. He looked like a man who would have the composure in those one-on-one situations. And the ball came to him just inside the box, and he went to just cut it back into the far corner across Lloris. But there was a challenge. I couldn't tell you the defender. I can't remember. And it just sort of, the ball just kind of bubbled up, and it just seemed hanging. It just seemed to go in slow motion. Just seemed to freeze in the air. Lloris was beaten, hands down. He couldn't move. The deflection was too much, and it just sort of went over his head, and then it hit the bar, and came out, and then I think it was Davinson Sanchez cleared it out. So we had them rattled. I mean, we literally rattled the woodwork twice, and we had, I'd say, 3 very, very good chances to come back, to equalise and possibly even win the game. We had them. Thought the atmosphere was electric. Was really good. And look, it was a narrow defeat in a game that most would agree we deserved to draw. I think Spurs would concede that as well. And it was, you know, we started the game with pretty much none of our new signings. Kennedy and Dubravka obviously in the team last year, but none of the absolutely new players started. And I think for us to go toe to toe with a team that are absolutely going to finish top 4, I think is a really positive start. We can be disappointed that we didn't put them, you know, we didn't punish them for letting us in so many times. But it's really encouraging. I think we showed quality there. We showed lots of fight. I was really pleased with the heart that was shown. I thought Lascelles was like brilliant. Dubravka made a really important save, and he was just alert. Dubravka, you know, there was a couple of crosses that sort of went high, and he had the mindfulness to push it out and just try and keep things as safe and reliable as possible. Worrying injury to Yedlin right at the end. Doesn't look good. Possibly on crutches. If he's gone the way of Lejeune, ligament-wise, we could be in trouble. I really don't like Manquillo. Jamie Sterry's a player I'd really like to see get a game and get a chance in the first team, but I don't know how match ready he is for the Premier League, and that's the truth. So very, very worrying to see Yedlin there now, and Yedlin's very important to how we play. We don't have overlapping fullbacks. His pace is very important. But then some would argue, was he to blame for the Dele Alli goal? Is he defensively deficient? So is bringing somebody else in going to make it safe? I don't know. All I know is when every time Javier Manquillo has the ball at his feet, I tense up. Like, I'm not confident with him on the ball. I think I think he's quite lightweight as well. I think Yedlin shows more muscle and athleticism, whereas Manquillo, I think, is knocked off the ball a lot easier. I thought, you know, Richie was decent, but I think in the second half he's starting to make a lot of mistakes, giving the ball away, and he's starting to get frustrated. And I think he's starting to get found out a bit by the Spurs team, and he got brought off for Atsu, and he was really annoyed on the bench, and he was swearing, and like a lot of people saying, yeah, I love this passion from Richie, yeah, and I was just thinking, oh, is it passion or is it just a bit disrespectful? Like in terms of bringing a winger on, Kennedy wasn't going to come off because Kennedy was playing far Kennedy's performance absolutely eclipsed Matt Ritchie's despite the assist. Like it just did. His general play was a lot better defensively and attacking, and I think, you know, I like Richie sort of giving away little free kicks, but sort of in our own box. But then when you give Spurs a free kick inside our box, then it suddenly becomes a very strong goal scoring chance for them because of the delivery they have from the likes of Eriksen and the height that they've got in Kane and Vertonghen and Davinson Sanchez and Ali. They're their ability with it, to head it is very strong. So I just think he was making a few decisions, and yeah, I'm sure Rafa won't mind him being a bit annoyed that, but I think it was some of the things he was saying, like what question of why me. I find that a bit arrogant, and hopefully he'll channel that anger in a positive way, because he did get us an assist, but I think his all-round play, Richie, slightly needs to improve. I think Perez was a bit quiet, but he showed some really nice touches, and I think he'll probably grow into the season. He's going to have to. I think Muto will give him competition, rightly so, and I think that'll help Perez step his game up. But Atsu, when he came on, as much as I sort of agreed with Richie going off, it was really dire. I thought Atsu was very, very poor when he came on. He did not look Premier League quality at all. I know that sounds very, very harsh, but I'd quite like, in that situation, to see Jacob Murphy back on the bench and back in the team, because and this performance won't bypass Rafa Benitez whatsoever. Atsu today was not good enough and didn't give us the impact. He's very fast as an impact player, but his delivery and his decision making and he loses the ball very easily. He's our fourth choice, and that needs to be cemented in, because I wasn't impressed. I thought Dummett was good today, as well, and Diarmi, who I probably haven't mentioned much, got stuck in, and as I said, was unlucky with that chance. So all in all, I don't want to get too disheartened that we've lost our opening game of the season. Look, it's a marked improvement on last year, when we ended the game with 10 men. We had 2 defenders injured, although conversely that might turn out, if Yedlin's injury is as bad, then we've essentially got Hardlejeune and another defender injured from the start of the season again, which is not good news. But I thought the performance today was encouraging. I was really pleased that we managed to, we had 15 shots against a Spurs side. We came away annoyed that we didn't draw the game. So that's improvement, and that shows strength and unity, and that pre-season might not have gone swimmingly all the time. It obviously did some good. I must mention the Sports Direct protest that took place this morning at 11 o'clock on Northumberland Street. I was part of the group that organised it. I went along at about 10 to 11, and it was already in full voice. When I went down, there was probably a couple of hundred people there, and there was a huge banner with Rafa Benitez and Hope, and then another long banner as well. And it was a very, very peaceful protest. I mean, not peaceful in that nobody was making any noise, because it was canny raucous, but at many points. But it was peaceful in that there was no trouble at all. The police were there. They'd been given a heads up. They asked us to step forward away from the entrance of Sports Direct once. The group went in to Sports Direct and offered them a load of chocolate bars, reportedly 100 chocolate bars or so, just to I guess just to reaffirm that the protest had nothing to do with the Sports Direct staff whatsoever. This is simply at their boss, at the owner, and there's a really good crowd there. I think all in all, at any one time, I saw sort of up to about 500 at any one time, and probably over 1,000 came and went. And so, Keith Downey from Sky Sports was down there. He interviewed a few people. He suggested there might have been 2,000. I mean, I couldn't see the depth of the crowd from where I was holding the banner, but I was, fantastic. We thought if thinks there's that many, and it's got the idea of the protest, which had largely just been circling around social media, was to get it out on the streets and get it to and get news of the movement out there, and job done. It was really well observed. There was a lot of passionate chanting for, it was passionate chanting in positives for Rafa Benitez, Newcastle United as a team, Kevin Keegan, but then there was also disdain for the likes of Ashley, Charnley, Keith Buship and Sports Direct, and rightly so. I think they all deserve criticism, especially after that random letter that went out with Lascelles and Benitez's name on it. They definitely didn't agree with what was said at all. They're not appeased. They put their name on that letter just for the good of the club. Don't be fooled by that. terrible. That's PR. That's PR from the club, because they know that people are annoyed that we made a £20 million profit in that window, whereas everybody else spent. That's ludicrous. But there'll be more activity forthcoming, so I'll let you know about that. But as a first event for the Magpie Group, that went really well, and I'm really pleased with how it went and the support that we garnered, and people were impassioned and people want to join in and people want to engage, and that's the most important thing. It was mentioned, as I said, it was mentioned on Sky Sports News. There was footage from it on Sky Sports News, and it's been mentioned in The Guardian as well, so it's been hitting national outlets. I know Time TV were there as well. I haven't seen any of that footage, but you know, first and foremost, the protest was supposed to help raise the profile of the movement and gain some national exposure, and it's been job done. There was no negative publicity to come out of that protest, and there'll be plenty more events coming up in action. So yeah, go and follow at the Magpie Group _ on Twitter. There's a Facebook group as well. It's the magpiegroup.co.uk. If you want to go on the website, join up for mailing lists. There's a newsletter that will be going out that will keep you up to date with all forthcoming activity, because we've had lots of requests for people to get on board, so we'd love to see you there as well. We're trying to include everybody, and there'll be details of an open meeting coming out very, very soon as well, so where you'd be able to come along and offer suggestions about future actions. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Disappointing day, but I think there's loads of positives to get out of that defeat. There really is. We look a much better team, and certainly in the attacking third, we just need a few more shots on target. We probably could have forced an equaliser, but I fully back us to do the business against Cardiff. I really, really think we're going to be too much for them. Check out my match report after that. I've been Adam. Please subscribe on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. We're on Facebook and Twitter as well. I've been Adam, the 2 Network. This has been a 2 Network match report, and we'll see you next time. Bye, bye.